Thank you for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Danik-Boy. Today on the program, PDP renews call for Atiku's return as Adamawa Ogun crisis deepen. And later on the program, Inspector General of Police appears before the Senate refuses to answer questions. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Martin Zoloja, and Mayor Akinpelu. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for coming, Veronica.
Journalist Hangout starts.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganouji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
We begin the program with loads of felicitations for one of Nigeria's finest pen warriors, Dapo Olorunyomi. He turns 60 today. Dapo is a dogged fighter and an unrepentant social advocate. Happy birthday to you, sir. But gentlemen, I'm sure either of us must have had an experience with Dapo Olorunyomi. We must have had an encounter with him, either worked with him or maybe met him somewhere, one place or the other. I'll start with you, Jide. What did you say about Dapo?
That's my hero. Yeah. That's the man who improved me as a reporter, who taught me how to write, who taught me how to cultivate sources, and who instilled courage in me. For Dapo, I could do anything. I could walk into the lion's den to bring out a story for him. And in 1995, when there was that coup, Dapo called me. He knows how to motivate a reporter. He called me and said, Jide, we only have 3 names of coup plotters, alleged coup plotters that have been arrested. I know you can supply a dozen. Now go and get me more names. All the magazines, the newspapers in Nigeria had only 3 names on that list, on their list. I went to the Army faculty in Jaji at midnight. I got 7 names for Dapo Olorunyomi, and he said it. He said, I knew that you were going to do it. So for your boss to encourage you in that way, as a young reporter I told myself that, look, nothing can stop me at this stage. And the sort of the jobs that people will give you that you'll be scared of, Dapo will give you, and he will tell you, look, somebody has to fight these people. I think you are good enough to fight them. That's why I've given you this job to do. So I thank God for his life. He's an exemplary journalist, no airs about him. He must be one of the poorest journalists around, because unlike the journalists of today, he's not given to ostentatious lifestyle. He is disciplined, and he's an unrepentant fighter. I'm terribly indebted to him for making me who I am today. All
right.
You know, coincidentally, I made a post on him today on Facebook. I introduced him as a reporter's reporter. He would not even like to be addressed as an editor, as a reporter. You know, what attracted me to him, I never worked with him, but I only watched him from some distance, but reporting, because that's the most critical aspect of journalism.
Yes.
There are so many editors, so many managing directors who have never been reporters. It means that they have not actually done any field work. But Dapo is a reporter's reporter. Even last week in Abuja, when he organized something on attack on Premium Times, where he also, and when he filled the entry form there, he put himself a designation, he said reporter. And then some of his workers were wondering, why is MD always talking? I now told them why, that he's a reporter. He's a reporter who will not anchor his cover in the office. he would like to go to the field. Yes. I watched him for so many years. He knows him. That is a reporter, and that is the best. On my post today, I compared him, and I remembered one other guy that has died. And I think Tunde Martins. Not many people will remember him. He was also a reporter. Somebody who would like reporting, no feature writing, nothing, reporting.
All right.
Another guy like that, Godwin Agbroko, who was also in this day an African Guardian. These are reporters. I remember them. I like people who are reporters.
All right, Mayor.
Yeah, just to add to that, there are very few people that are good reporters and good writers. Most times you see good reporters and you see good writers. Dapo was one of those that are very good as a reporter and very good as a writer. Yes. And what I like about him is what he said, no years about him. And I used to admire men who can rise above material things. Yeah. Because a lot of us are still in the world. We crave good things, we want to live well, we want to die well. You get to a point that you rise above things like that. Only very few people have the discipline and the character to rise above material things. Dapo is one of them, and I really admire him for that. He's somebody, I didn't work with him, but I think I can call him my friend. I know him quite well, and he's somebody that I respect.
I also had a few encounters with him at one of their trainings, and he was just there like every other person, no airs around him. And he was, you could approach him to ask any questions because they organized the trainings, and he was just there as every other person, and it was like, oh, wow. Well, we wish him a very happy birthday, long life. Yes. All right, now to the main business of the day. The race for 2019 election has begun in full swing. Politicians have returned to the chessboard, and the calculus is beginning to clearly show their leanings. The name of the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, has suddenly popped up again in a desperate attempt to unseat President Muhammadu Buhari by the People's Democratic Party. On Wednesday, the Adamawa State chapter of the party officially called on the former Vice President to return home. But the question is, will Atiku's return change the fortune of a party that is sinking terribly beyond redemption? The PDP in many states remained in a big mess. It is still a party racing out of control. Will Atiku live up to his famed character of crisscrossing political parties this time? I'll start with Ijide. Again, what really is the person of Atiku? What is really in the person of Atiku that this party seemed to be so interested to want to latch on for 2019?
Well, I'm not so sure every party wants to latch upon Atiku.
I mean the PDP now specifically.
Yeah. I think it's Atiku who wants to latch upon the PDP and not the other way around. Atiku has seen clearly that he has no future in the APC. The remarks that he made a few weeks ago, where he was talking about the fact that they collected money from them, they used their contacts, and after they got to office, they left them home and dry. He was referring to the fact that he financed to an extent the campaign, electioneering campaign of the President Buhari, but Buhari has clearly not reached out to him, not sought his opinion on anything. Buhari has just put him in one corner. So it's not something that makes him happy. And for a lot of his supporters too, they feel that there's no future for them in the APC. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to know that as long as this president is strong enough, they will push him to contest in 2019. Even if
it's getting stronger.
Even if he, as a person, he does not want to contest, they will push him. They will tell him that, look, it's the best thing that God has ever created. You know the way they talk into the heads of politicians, to the point that a decision that you ordinarily not want to take, you'll be forced to take it. That is where the people are around the president. That is what they will do, because as far as they are concerned, their own well-being is tied to Buhari's continued stay in power. So they will do everything possible to make sure that he remains in office. They will convince him that, look, there's nobody like you at this time. You are the Alpha and Omega. You are the one who can make progress happen in Nigeria. Therefore, you have to contest. So under that kind of arrangement in inverted commas, there will be no open doors for Atiku in that party. So he knows that some of his supporters are already moving into the PDP. Right now, in Adamawa State, Atiku has shown his hand very early. The supporters who defected into the PDP have now literally hijacked the structures of the PDP in Adamawa State, to the point that other stakeholders are saying, what is happening? How can people join our party just a few weeks ago and then you've rewarded them with party positions and all that? It means that you want to keep these people on those positions so that by the time Atiku needs them, they will be part of the delegates that will deliver votes for him.
But he has denied the allegations.
You don't expect people to tell you the truth at all times. You know, when it comes to lying, the Nigerian politician, the Nigerian big man is an habitual liar. When you see the Nigerian big man is lying, is swearing by God, in any case, they don't believe in God. Because it's just vain religiosity that they know us for in Nigeria. So many churches, so many mosques here that we don't believe in God. We deceive ourselves. You see the Nigerian big man lying, and he's swearing to God. He's calling, well, be lie, lazy, lie, he knows he's lying. So forget the fact that he's denying. There are certain moves, when he wants to leave a party, you know he's a routine carpet crosser. So when he wants to move to a party, he allows his supporters to go first. And that's what we are seeing now, Adamawa, and those people are coming out to say, look, this man has hijacked our party, what is happening? And they are blaming the caretaker national chairman. They are accusing him of creating the conditions that enabled Atiku's people to now hijack the structures of the party. And all efforts to even protest against the conduct of the congresses that the courts stopped, all those efforts have failed, because where the panel was supposed to sit, these agreed people went there. There was nobody to receive their petitions. And now you are saying that you didn't, how can people buy forms for as much as 900 and something thousand, and you will now be saying that you do not even recognize the forms that they have bought? So if he wants to join if they want to prepare grounds for him to join the PDP, they must do it in a decent manner. They must not do it in a manner that appears to brush other people aside. Otherwise, the party will remain in crisis.
All right, let's bring in Martins now. I asked Jide a question. The party is saying is renewing its call for him to be a part of the party. And he is saying that APC, and he has said again that APC is where he remains. And from what Jide has said, it seems that is not what is happening. Where really do we place the person of Atiku now, and who exactly is wooing who?
Well, definitely, as Jide has said, you know, in Nigeria, if somebody answers you and tells you that, why are you talking like a politician? You know what it means. It means that the person doesn't believe you. You know, people will know, people who are older than me, and we know that Atiku is PDP. These are founding fathers of PDP. You know, the thing that we can say about him is that, oh, he has made some mistakes. He's been crisscrossing like a typical politician in Nigeria who doesn't believe in his party. All these politicians don't care about this party. Despite the fact that the issue of party system is in the constitution. You cannot be anything in Nigeria. They have, unless you pass through a political party, as we have discussed here before. A political party organization is so important. But our politicians, if they discover that they are not going to benefit from this platform, they move to another platform. Even what the constitution says should be the consequences the National Assembly people and other platforms have not been complying with the provision of the Constitution. That if you cross over to this is what will happen to you, you lose your seat. Nobody has lost like that, unless they don't want the person to stay. Be that as it may, you know, this Atiku issue, Atiku is a big man. There is no question about that. We can talk about his behavior. He is very good at organizing people, organizing party, organizing resources to make things happen. In this PDP, he has made a lot of people. He is PDP. If he tells you that his mind is in APC, and you know that you have to read his body language and read his lips before you know what it means. He's a PDP person, and he wants to return to PDP. He is already making the conditions that will enable him to return to PDP, because that is the place where he can contest election. APC, as he said, from what is happening in the last few weeks, even the body language and the attitude of the president at the National Assembly, you know that 2019 election, electioneering, or whatever you call it, has begun. And that is what you saw at the National Assembly, about good attitude, about this, about that. He is going to contest. And there won't be any opportunity for another person, including Atiku. That is why PDP is the place he will be. And then we will discuss it in the next few weeks that he has returned to the PDP.
Mayor, PDP is the place for him to be. Is that because that is stemming from what he has said, Martins has said? Is it because the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is no longer a member of the party, so to speak, whom people have seen as being the one that has stood in his way of becoming, or why he left the party earlier?
Not really, not really. Yes, he had problems with Obasanjo, but I think Atiku has this ambition to be president. And it was part of the movement that left PDP to APC. And he thought it stood a better chance to win the primaries in APC, and he was disappointed. And like he said, he didn't win the election. The only time he enjoyed power a little in APC was during the struggle to be the president of the Senate. And when Saraki became president of the Senate, was the first person Saraki went to visit. But since then, he has been sidelined in APC, so to speak. And this is somebody who loves power, who is used to power, who understands the power game. So there is need for him, if he's not relevant in APC, to go back to somewhere, another platform where it could be relevant. And the only place we go to is PDP. It's not impossible that he may not eventually end up in PDP. They may form, if there's another platform, they may form another party, and some forces within PDP and some forces in APC will still move to that party. That is another possibility. But without that, the only place he could move to is PDP. But that's very sad, because Atiku is somebody that I like. I think if he has the opportunity of becoming president, he will be a good president. Because one of the things about Atiku is that he has this, he's modern, so he has this knack of appointing young, brilliant people to surround him. But at this stage of his life, I don't think he needs to be president of Nigeria.
Why is that?
Because he has been opportune to be vice president of Nigeria for 8 years. I believe he has contributed his own quota to nation building. He should see himself as an elder statesman who should be able to sit down, because he understands politics more. That is a game he loves. So he could sit down and let people come to him like a godfather, instead of ridiculing himself, because I know that if he goes to PDP, he will not get the nomination of that party. And he'll be frustrated again.
That's quite, wait, he will not get the nomination of that party, Jide. Do you share the same sentiment?
I'm not sure he will not get it. I'm not sure he will not get it. He has, look, I said something last week. Yeah, was it last week or this week? If people like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had left Buhari to battle it out during the primaries with Kwankwaso, with
will have lost
Atiku, they will have dealt with Buhari at the primaries.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Because he won't be able to find the money that they will bribe those delegates with. So if you are talking about people who can put $10,000 in envelopes and give to each delegate, Atiku is one of such persons. Even in the primaries that he contested against Jonathan, he tried to match Jonathan dollar for dollar, a sitting president. So where, for example, Jonathan will give $10,000, you had an Atiku giving people like $7,000 because he has the resources. He's a man who is very rich with business interests even outside of Nigeria. Congo or some other countries of the world, he has mines. People don't know that he has so much money. And our politics, money plays a pivotal role in our politics.
Sure.
You cannot win an election if you do not spend money. You can't.
Anywhere in the world.
You may be popular, but you must still back your popularity with money. You must mobilize people. I was in a bank in 2015 when I saw party members who were being taken to a rally. Suddenly the bus stopped at the bank. And what did I see? Somebody went into the bank, withdrew some money, and right there they shared the money to all of those guys before they proceeded to the campaign ground. This is what happens. You see large crowds at rallies.
Of course.
They are paid.
You have to mobilize them
They are paid.
there.
So you must mobilize people with money before they... So if they had left, Buhari does not have money. If they had left him to battle those people at the primaries without coming up with the strategy of hiding those delegates, because I remember Kwankwaso was raising hell that why now? Why should they lock up delegates? Oh, they will not lock up delegates. They will let you go and bribe them so that Buhari will lose. So he had no access. He had the money, but there were some delegates that he needed access to that he couldn't reach them. So this is the thing. Atiku, with the kind of money that he has, if he plays his politics well, he may become the presidential candidate of the PDP. But it doesn't mean that he will win. And in the national election, even if Buhari does not stand against him, it doesn't mean that he will win. I don't think that across the country he has that cross-country appeal anymore. The best chance he had was in 2003. If he had agreed to run, Obasanjo begged him when more than 3/4 of Nigerian governors were behind him. If he had agreed to run at that time, Obasanjo would not have gotten
Yes, he will have become president.
You know? So, and in politics, when your chance comes, you must seize it. If you do not seize your chance,
You lose it.
you may never get another chance.
That's it. And now that for a party martins like PDP that is trying to redeem itself, its image, and become a formidable opposition, how would his return, you know, bring a change of fortune to that party?
Well, you know, we have been appealing to these party organizers and these party chiefs that this is the time that they should be recruiting people, good people, professionals, technocrats into the party to strengthen the party if you want to confront the ruling party. What you do around the world, you know, you don't have to wait. You have good examples. If you do not organize your party well, you don't organize yourself well, you find consequences immediately. Yesterday, even the Republican people, they lost New Jersey and Virginia.
Virginia, yes.
You know, you find consequences immediately. Now, they should learn lessons from that they should be organizing people. Well, Atiku, as he said, for instance, is an organizer. And he has the resources. As I was reviewing a scripture with people just last week, and it's Ecclesiastes 10:19, that, well, you can talk about feast, you know, for merriment and wine, for life merry, but money answereth all things. It is...
Even in the Bible?
Yes. Ecclesiastes 10:19. That money
I'm not very conversant with the Bible.
Coming out of here.
You see, but the platform, okay,
Quickly,
sorry.
before you go on, please, we have Umar on the line calling from Adamawa. Are you there?
Dr. Umar.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Dr. Umar.
Yes.
You are a chieftain of the APC in Adamawa State.
PDP.
Of the PDP in Adamawa State, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Why are few people chosen to accuse a member of a different party as having hijacked the structures of your party in Adamawa State. You're accusing Atiku belongs to a different party.
Yeah, I did that accusation, along with many members of the party in the state, on the ground that the leadership of the caretaker committee was his own, and also they were discussing with him and coming up with policies as to how to do the congresses. And at the end of the day, many members of his people, of his supporters in the APC, had moved into PDP. Some became local government chairmen, some became national delegates, some became members of the State Executive Committee. And if these things happen, then you are left with no choice but to point the finger of accusation to the direction of where the smoke is coming. So that is it. Then, centrally, the members of the caretaker committee sat down among themselves and distributed offices of the State Executive Committee to themselves without resigning, which is against the regulation and which is against the specific instruction given to them at the time of their inauguration by the national chairman of the party, Senator Ahmed Mohamed Bakarfi. So these issues are fundamental. They are the major issues that people say PDP is iniquitous, and it does impunity, and it allows this impunity to stand. If at the end of the day, in spite of our petition on this, and the party at the national level accepts this thing, then obviously you know that we will have problem at the National Convention. And mind you, the 9th December National Convention will determine the fate of the PDP. It will make or mar the PDP. If PDP gets it right on December 9th, then PDP has a bright chance of not only getting back most of the states of the Federation, most of the membership of the National Assembly, but is likely to even take over the presidency itself. But if it loses and marks the 9th December convention, then it is all over for the party. Not only it will not make any headway in the 2019 general elections, but PDP will be virtually extinct as a viable political party in Nigeria. So that is why it's central and important that PDP members should not be allowed to be teleguided by non-PDP members who would want to return to the PDP for the purpose of advancing selfish interests. So that is why we made this accusation, and we are not wrong at this accusation. Personally, I know I'm not wrong at this accusation. I have all the facts. I have all the evidences. So there is nothing anybody can say that we made a false accusation.
Well, December 9 is not far anymore. So what do you intend to do? What does the party in the state intend to do to remedy this situation so that you can have a successful convention come the 9th? Because you know that that convention, December 9th, is very, very important.
Yeah, it is. I already emphasized that point myself. The party in the state is no longer a viable political party, because if they allow the so-called executive committee to remain, having converted themselves from caretaker committee members and distributed these things to themselves, then that will point to the direction that the December 9 convention will take. And that will be very disastrous, for the party. We have destroyed the provision of the Constitution, which stated very clearly, Section 8 of the Constitution, that any person who returns to the PDP must stay not less than 1 year to be eligible to even vote in a meeting, and he must be 2 years to be voted for in any office of the party or be nominated for a public office. In a situation where somebody will come back today and tomorrow he is elected, then what is the essence of the Constitution? Then we might as well hold a ceremony, bring the Constitution and burn it. into ashes, because the Constitution, its provisions have no essence in running the affairs of the party. It means that people determine and run the party at their whims and caprices based on what they think, what they like, or what they dislike. No political party is run like that. The PDP is registered as a political party on the basis of the Constitution is submitted, and the manifesto is submitted, and other criteria. But having a Constitution is central in the registration of a political party. You don't just make the Constitution like this. The law did not demand that you should have a Constitution before you are registered, because it is important that you follow the provision of your Constitution. Where PDP is not following the provision of the Constitution, then we may call for a ceremony of burning PDP Constitution. Let everybody run the party the way they want to run it.
Dr. Umar.
Yes.
You are Atiku's essay strategy when he was vice president to Olusegun Obasanjo. If Atiku decides to contest the next election on the platform of the PDP, will he get your support?
Well, if he does not mend his way, certainly he will not get my support.
What do you mean, mending his way? He's your blood brother. You are related.
You see, when politics come into this, the issue of blood, the issue of water, the issue of wealth, they are out. The issue of constitutionality, the issue of, there is a saying in politics, they say, what is morally wrong cannot be politically right. If something is morally wrong, you cannot, make it politically right in any way. You cannot impose people who are constitutionally barred from holding offices that you made them hold, and then expect us, to support that. It means that if you take over office, you are going to run against the provision of the Constitution. Only you will run it, as per the desires of your heart. So the country will just be run aground. If he doesn't change his ways and do things according to the provision of the Constitution, there is no way, I will support his candidacy. And besides, PDP itself will have big problems. Already, the so-called executive committee in the state had come up with a statement inviting him into the party. That points to the direction where things are. His media aide came yesterday and refuted what I said. He said it is ludicrous that somebody who is not in the party will be met, will be accused of having attacked the political party. But we all know. So yesterday also, somebody has put the point very clearly. He said, these are advanced parties. When you send your advanced party, then you know that the government is coming, the president is coming, the vice president is coming. So when you send your advanced party to come and take over offices of the party, not in accordance with the provision of the Constitution, then there is a problem. And there is a problem in Adamawa. So we do not accept what has happened in Adamawa. We do not recognize the state ESCO as...
Quickly, Doctor, before we let you go, what has the leadership of the party said about this crisis? How do they intend to wade into the matter?
We have submitted our petition to the State Congress Appeal Panel, and we have defended that. They have called, witnesses. They have testified. The position is clear. The secretary of the appeal of the caretaker committee, Honorable Katab, he came and said that they resigned, that they all held a meeting and they passed a resolution that all the 11 members of the caretaker committee have resigned before they were so-called elected as state ESCO. Yet there was no resignation letter sent to the national chairman. Secondly, there was no announcement of their resignation to the people of Adamawa State so that we know that they have actually resigned. And thirdly, they have not, so members of the caretaker committee testified that there was no such resolution and no such resignation. And finally, the one that claimed to have resigned, who has become the so-called chairman of the party. We
have to let you go because we are running out of time. But thank you for your insight into the crisis in the Adamawa State PDP. After this break, police boss appears before the Senate but refuses to answer questions. Stay with us.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganouchi, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
All right, Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has been called many names by the senator representing Bauchi Central, Isa Mishau. The senator has called him a cheat, a pervert, unworthy of the exalted position he occupies. The senator accuses the police chief of weighty crimes that some of them sound exaggerated, too disconnected from common sense to be taken seriously. But as ridiculous as some of his allegations sound, the Senate read between the lines. It said it will investigate a few of them that made sense. One of them is the allegation that the IG diverted 7.2 billion naira appropriated for armored personnel carriers and rehabilitation of 102 barracks across the country to purchase personal vehicles, amongst others. Recently, the Senate invited the police chief to come and defend himself. On Wednesday, the Inspector General appeared as requested, but in a strange twist of event, he refused to answer the questions pelted at him by members of the ad hoc committee. He said the matter is already in court. What is going on here today? Is this an issue of he being silent to avoid incriminating himself, or it's a situation of when silence is golden?
The Senate rules bars them from getting involved in matters before a court of law. So the IG is a lawyer, and he took his lawyer with him, and his lawyer reminded them of the fact that Senate rules bars them from investigating matters already before a competent court of law. And he also mentioned some previous cases and all that. This is similar to what happened when they invited the Attorney General of the Federation, you know, after the arraignment of the Senate President by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. They invited the Attorney General, and the Attorney General went there and refused to answer their questions, just the same way that the IG buttoned up his lips. So he refused to talk and said, look, your own rules bar you from entertaining matters that are already before a court of law. So it's unfortunate. Remember too that before the election, Amechi was accused of corruption. And the next thing he did was to quickly run to court. So at the time they invited him, he said, well, it is sub judice for me to come here and talk about a matter that is already before a court of law. So sometimes they say the law is an ass. Sometimes we are captive, we become captives of the laws that we have come up with. Because, look, I would have wanted the Senate to investigate some of the issues raised against the IG. Some of the matters, some of the issues that Meso brought against him were ridiculous. But there are some of them that are not ridiculous. There are some of them that needed to be addressed by an independent body. So we lost an opportunity, you know, to have this man answer questions. You can't be an IG and be promoting people in a whimsical manner. You must promote only people who deserve to be promoted. You can't be an IG and be so thoroughly biased as to be promoting people who are far junior and unworthy of being promoted. So if people will challenge the IG along that line, I'll be happy. But for Senator Meso to come and say the IG takes about 120 billion in a year is very ridiculous. And I challenged him that, look, you must provide proof. You don't just come and tell us that this man collects bribe to the tune of 120 billion. Show proof. It will be, which bank would he keep that kind of money? So anyone who is that will know that, look, Mr. was just talking rubbish. You know, when you
he was formerly in the police force.
Yes.
So possibly he could have an insight.
You see, this is, if you are an IG, you've already become a billionaire in Nigeria. Look, all these Asians who come to our country to transact bad business and all that, once they cite an IG that has just been appointed, before he even asks for money, they will go out, reach out to him so that he will give them protection. This is what happens in our country, except we don't want to deceive ourselves. We are not saying that IGs do not post their own boys to juicy states and juicy places. But to say that 120 billion a year, I mean, that's a lot of money. That is the exaggeration that I quarrel with. And you can't make that kind of statement and be repeating it without giving us proof that this is how it takes 20 billion, it takes 10 billion every month and all that. Everything comes to 120 billion. But you see, the danger in talking the way Senator Miso talks is that the real issues that need to be investigated, where we could have gripped the IG like this, the very esoteric claims and all that he came up with, would drown those real issues. And people will not be talking about the issues for which we should actually question the man who heads the police. So that is the thing. Everything is subsumed in this whole claim that it makes 120 billion a year and all that. You know?
Martins, you've been itching to say something.
No. You know, the issue is complicated. Complicated in the sense that, you know, the whistleblower this time, the sitting senator, served in the police, as you observed.
10 years.
Yes, 10 years. And then there was something they said about him. They said he awoke, that he left the police just like that. But the commission, the regulator, headed by a former Inspector General of Police, said, no, you lied about that. They produced a manifest that included his own retirement from the police force. Then here is a government that encourages whistleblowing. No matter how exaggerated, if a senator, a sitting senator, blew a whistle on an IG, that was a precedent. There was a whistle that was blown before by an aide of an IG, a sitting IG. Then the then chairman of EFCC, Ribadu, was allowed by the then president to investigate him, and he was prosecuted, and they secured a conviction.
Yeah.
In this same country, in this same democracy, and I think that if there was a whistleblowing like that, there are two things about this whistleblowing. One is financial. It has something to do with financial intelligence, this economic, this and that. So the EFCC should have been allowed to investigate this. Then there were ethical issues. If there are ethical issues like that, it's a way that they can deal with it. I said, no, the IG did this. He even dealt with some female officers in the force. These are issues, weighty issues. These are weightier matters of the law, and they should have allowed this. Then the issue of the Senate hearing. The Senate had begun its own investigation before the IG went to court. Even while he was reading the rule of the Senate yesterday, his attention was drawn to that we have begun our own investigation before you run to court. So if the Senate people want to do their job, sometimes they ignore this. They say they also cite a section of the Constitution that will enable them to do their job even when somebody runs to court. So they are selective in their choice of investigation, and if they want to do an investigation, let them do the investigation. So my own view is that, well, the case is still okay. Whatever the senator has, he has an opportunity to present his own pieces of evidence in a court, since the IG is in court. But I believe that the administration should have allowed the agencies that should have dealt with this issue normally to deal with the issue without without ignoring that whistleblowing, because the administration encourages whistleblowing, and whistleblowing has actually borne some fruits. They have got some benefits from whistleblowing. And I believe that because there was this precedent set by this same EFCC, they should have allowed him. There's nothing extraordinary about an allegation against an Inspector General of Police.
Okay. I want to look at it from the angle that this government, either by act of omission or commission, do not really want to fight the war against corruption. Because if there's a whistleblower that happens to be a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, like he said, the government should have encouraged investigation from EFCC and other agencies that could look at that. But they didn't do that. Instead, the Attorney General of the Federation, who happens to be the #1 law officer, charged the whistleblower to court on behalf of the federal government, which I think is ridiculous, because the Attorney General, it's not the business of the Attorney General to do that. What should have happened is what has happened now for the IG to go to court to institute a civil suit against Senator Misal, but for the federal government to use the office of the Attorney General to charge a sitting senator who happens to be a whistleblower shows that this government is not serious sometimes. Sometimes they make mistakes. It may not be intentional, but either by act of omission or commission, they don't seem to know what to do. That's one. Two, they have now messed it up in a situation where the National Assembly is trying to protect or trying to look at the crisis from Senator Misal's side, yeah. Where the Attorney General and the executive, so to speak, look at it from the side of, we shouldn't be, because it's still the same government. It may be different arms of government. It's still the same government.
You're trying to protect.
Yes, it's similar. We should not look at that. When there is an issue, we should be able to, the government should be able to say, okay, these agencies that are saddled with responsibilities to do things like that should have investigated, because the whistleblower is not just anybody. It's somebody who happens to be a sitting senator of Federal Republic and who used to be a former police officer. But like you said, now everything is muddled up in these court cases. Right. The man has been to National Assembly, didn't say anything, and I think that's the end of it.
Wow. All right, Joseph, go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, Michael, good evening to everybody on seat. My contribution is that if they said Idris was accusation of corruption, but we all know in Nigeria that those things was a fact, even though the money is not up to 120 billion naira. But he commit. Is it any small crime in Nigeria? That is what I don't know.
Joseph, thank you for your
contribution. Pay money for police.
Thank you for your contribution, Joseph. Well, I don't think I really understood what he was trying to say. But
what he was trying to say was that if he committed the offense, if he got bribed, that it is actionable, whether it is up to 120
or not. But that has not been established.
That has not.
That is the point that I'm making, that he cannot prove that. He cannot prove that.
It's in court.
He cannot prove that. I know that I cannot prove that the man.
No, the allegation is not
20 billion.
Okay,
the 120 billion is the size.
He has opportunity.
Is the size of the money. Is the size of the money that is the issue. And when you talk about whistleblower policy, there is a portion of that whistleblower law that says that if you lie, you will be put on trial. The people who claim that the former Vice President, Namadi Sambo, kept tons of cash in his house. They are being put on trial now. Because when they got there, they didn't find anything. So in order not to ridicule, in order not to subject the security agencies to endless white goose chase, they inserted that portion into the law, meaning that if you send people on a white goose chase, you do not have concrete evidence that this person stole money and this is where he kept it, they will come and arrest you and put you on trial. There are a few people who have been tried now. So if you want to whistleblow, you must whistleblow the right way.
So
you
is that
must
why
be sure.
Is that what is
Attorney
happening now?
General,
No,
you
no,
know,
no. That is not. It is not. It
Because
is
they have
not.
established that
yes.
the guy-
I don't
yes,
even
the
think
guy-
that they see it is you people who are calling him whistleblower. They don't see this as as whistleblowing. They think that the relationship between both men has become so bad that it's just coming up with all kinds of claims and all that.
But is it right for the Attorney General to
I
charge it?
disagree with the Attorney General having to file a suit
Yeah.
on behalf of the state.
Yes, on behalf of the
Against
state.
this issue, have allowed this guy to swim on it.
Yes.
After all,
Allegation
it's well
against
within the
the
rights
person,
of the IG to sue this guy.
He has
It's a
done
civil
that.
matter.
He has done that now.
Now, the Attorney General was wrong. No doubt about it. You need to understand what the
wrong.
point that I'm making. You know?
No, I understand the point you're making. I'm just saying that they are...
But the thing is, there are ridiculous accusations
Agreed.
coming from Senator Miso.
So,
but one
yes.
wonders why he want to make such ridiculous accusations.
Because
Because some
people are
persons
challenging
say,
that, look, you are saying, are you sure this money? Because we
Because
saw the size
I'm
of the
sure they
money.
had- they had
some persons
problems.
say that there might be someone somewhere beating the drums that he is dancing to, making him make such
Let
allegations.
me tell you, the current IG gives people issues. There are many people who are not happy. You know how many people they had to compulsorily retired
More than
for
20.
this man, I think about 24 or so, for this man to become IG.
IG.
So there are people out there who do not even want to see this IG. I'm not holding brief for him. And I'm saying that even if the IG stands before me today and says, look, I don't have people that I favor in the police. I do not have favorites. I do not post my favorites to different
No, it does not
places.
post. It's the Police Service Commission that do
know?
that. It does not, yes, it can influence, but it does not post.
No, the thing is not, that's not
No, but it's
entirely
the Police
true.
Service Commission that
No,
does that.
that is not entirely true.
The operations.
He is the one who will say, this is where I want to put this person. That's why even why, look at the complaint
No, I'm talking about the promotions
police
now.
commissioner.
No,
Even the promotions, there were promotions that he made that everyone.
Yes.
Do you know that the Police Service Commission, they've been complaining about this IG, that it doesn't even come, it doesn't even attend their meetings. So I'm not surprised that when he had this issue with Miso, that the Police Service Commission sided with Miso.
Yes.
Because they are saying that it doesn't even treat them with respect. You know?
Declared Miso.
Yeah,
They did.
Yes, they cleared
They
him
did.
that he properly retired.
Yes.
But the point really is, the IG has been accused of promoting, I think the CP in Kogi State,
Yes.
promoting him over and above his colleagues in a manner that can only
In
bring.
Lagos, they said because the one in Lagos that it was because he had slow that
I'm not even talking about.
No, the one in Lagos had his classmates
When
were
someone-
already AIG.
I'm not even
Yes.
talking about the one in Lagos. If
So
you
quickly
read
wrap
what,
up.
like that
No,
of
just
that of
responding
Kogi,
to what they said. Yes, I'm not. Yes,
the man ought not to be a commissioner of police at this time.
Agreed, yes.
It's a big issue. I doubt if he can find any alibi,
for that.
you know,
Yes,
to justify the promotion of that fellow. And it's not the only one. So if we must investigate the IG, we must not distract ourselves. We must look at the key issues that this guy came up with, you know, rather than talk about, okay, he impregnated a woman here, this
Which
and
is
that. Those are not
Yeah,
issues.
run out of time.
Those issues are not necessary.
Quickly.
My take on this, my last word on this for this day is that they should allow the court processes, because you know court processes like that, libel and forgery cases and like that, have dealt with a Chief Justice of Nigeria before from the court proceeding. Another
They can be on libel case for 5, 6, 7
all those
years.
things like that.
We run out
And
of
the
time.
one- 7 years they will be on that libel.
We
Yeah,
have
definitely.
run
That's why
out
he
of
went to
time,
court.
gentlemen. It's time already,
lot
but
of
thank
things
you
can still happen in
for
court.
coming on the program. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Veronica Danny Boy. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.